One. Hi, everybody. Merv Neil from Laughter Yoga Australia. Welcome to our second podcast. The purpose of these podcasts is to introduce you to some amazing people from around Australia, and today's guest is no exception, and to give you an idea of exactly what laughter yoga is in Australia and what it is we're trying to achieve now and into the future. I'm delighted that my guest today is Sharon Stewart. Sharon will explain everything about how we met and when we met, etc., and the circumstances. So, Sharon, welcome. Thank you for your time. One take, no stopping, no editing. It's as raw as can be. And the first question I have for you is tell us about Sharon pre laughter yoga.
Sharon pre-laughter yoga was a nurse. I, I really think about it. I literally ran away from home at the age of 16, ran away
Oh, wow.
and went into nursing, and it was a huge culture shock. Lived up in the nurses' quarters with a matron downstairs with a cat. And I grew up very quickly. So I could say 47 years later, and I was still nursing. It took me on lots of travels. I met lots of people, lots of circumstances. But yes, it shaped my whole life. So nurse, I been volunteering, been doing a lot of volunteer work. I started volunteering with the St. John Ambulance way back then. I was a volunteer with the riding for the disabled because I was very heavily involved with horses, and I was a level one coach with the riding for the disabled. 18 years or so with that. Bowen therapist. I studied a diploma in Bowen therapy. So I think deep in my heart, I've always wanted to help people. So I was always finding different ways, even with nursing, but even outside of nursing. So
Well,
yes.
whenever someone says I'm a nurse, I just have great respect for the nurses. I could just imagine some of the things that you've experienced in that
Oh
time.
yes.
What was it that drew you to nursing in the first place, or was it just a spur of the moment 16-year-old decision?
I think it was a spur of a moment, 16-year-old decision. I've always had this thing that of wanting to help people, even as at a young age. I just had this thing within me. But I left school after being told I was wasting my time at school, and because I was a daydreamer, a big daydreamer. And I was looking around and I discovered this nursing training. So I just went and had an interview with the matron, the said matron, and she put me on 3 months probation. And yes, from then on, I stayed. I was actually told by her back then too, and it was just like it was yesterday. I would not make a good nurse because I was too soft.
It's-
Well, again, 47 years later. So yes, yeah, I've enjoyed it very much.
Good on you, and well
Ups
done
and
for that.
downs and rounds and rounds.
Well done for that service to the community and the health industry at large. Interesting, a nurse being too soft. I thought that was their job. I thought that was their job to care and be empathetic and compassionate and that sort of thing. One big change that you saw, and you've given away your age, 47 years. I can't believe that, but I will. What big change did you see in nursing over 47 years?
Oh, lots. I was hospital trained, and I still think that was the best. It was very military back then.
Ha.
When the matron or the doctors walked in, we had to stand up with our hands behind our backs. Oh, yes, very, very military. Um, Very sad when it went into universities. So they still get the hands on, but they don't get the experiences we had. Um, I think people going into nursing now are clocking up huge HEX bills and things like that for, I think it's a university degree these days. And then they come out and then they do their placements, and I see a lot leave. So yes, huge changes. I really wish it would go back to hospital training. But I was talking to a nurse the other day, a trainee nurse, who said that at the end of it, they get a mentorship program, which is new. So I think that's one of the best things that's happened, especially up their fourth year when they do their GNP. their fourth, what they call it, internship. So they've got a mentorship program happening. So that's a good thing. But yes, look, lots of changes. In the old days, it was pen and paper, writing in notes and everything. Nowadays, they push computers around on trolleys and it's
I
all
do.
gone. So it's all gone. I'm sure they use a lot of IA these days too. So, but
Very good.
huge changes.
So why did you get out of nursing?
I'll be honest, I got tired.
Okay.
I'd worked a lot. I got tired. There was burnout. There was a lot of those things. And I didn't exactly, I didn't leave nursing at the time. That was 2015. I just went into another area where I worked with disabilities and did a lot of community work. So it was totally different ball game. But yes, there was the burnout,
Which is still happening today, of course.
burnout and overwhelm. Yes,
Indeed.
definitely.
All right. So at some stage you were not well.
No, I was having a lot of problems in my right ear, and it's felt like there was an insect in there or a cricket. It kept clicking and buzzing. And I remember my granddad looking in there and and the old nothing in there. It was driving me mad. And the hospital I was working at, I went to see one of the ENT specialists, and he looked in there, and they never did scans. That was the irony. He just did pressure tests, and he said, "Oh, your hearing's down." I went, "Well, yes, I know that." But why? And it was getting worse. I was getting a lot of pressure, and this went on for well over a year, 18 months. And in the end, I went to another doctor and I said, "Look, I need a second opinion." And okay, so he sent me to another ENT specialist. And he said, "I'm sending you down for a CAT scan." And I went, "Oh, okay, when?" He said, "Now, today." So off I went for a CAT scan, and I went that, and they told me, well, he rang me, and then I went that, and I had a tumor growing in my brainstem. It was called an acoustic neuroma, and it was growing in my brainstem. And of course, the brainstem, as you know, is attached to the vagal nerve, which your heart, all those things. So it was affecting a lot of things, and they kept putting it down to stress. Anyway, they decided to operate, and they told me I may not come out of this, and or a 50-50 chance I could be paralyzed and all this, that, and the other. And they said it was about 2 months of being inoperable. So when I found it, so 11 and a half hours, followed by another 7.5 hours. And I came out, my right eye was fixed like that. I couldn't even blink at all. And my face was like, and look at it, look at me now. So yes, went through that. They told me I'd be off work for 3 months. I was back at work in 8 weeks after the second operation. So very lucky to still be here. And
Wow.
it's still left me with a few residual problems. I'm deaf, but yes, got on with it.
So two questions that's always intrigued me. As a nurse, you would have been fairly knowledgeable about your situation or
Hmm.
circumstance. Did that help, or did that just cause more
I
chaos
think
in your life?
it did help in some ways. I knew I was in good hands, but ignorance is bliss.
Okay.
I truly believe ignorance is bliss.
Okay.
It did make me a bit nervous, of course, because I knew all the workings in there and the intricate with all the nerves and the veins and the arteries and everything
Mm.
without getting into the nitty-gritties. So I think it did make me more nervous, but I knew I was in good hands.
And you mentioned that they put it down to stress. Stress doesn't cause any illnesses, as far as I know, but it exacerbates existing situations. So, how much do you think stress played in the role of you actually experiencing this tumor?
Oh, yeah, they didn't say that was caused. They said that the symptoms I was
Yep.
having probably
Yep.
caused by stress and not
Yes.
this.
Yes.
What was that question? So
The question was more around, was it stress that actually exacerbated the
I
situation,
think
do you
so.
believe?
I think so. Because I was trying to find answers and I was working. I was doing a lot of shift work. I was doing a lot of double shifts. We were always short staffed. I was trying not to have sick leave. So I was constantly tired. So stress didn't help, of course. Mm.
Very good. Laughter yoga, where and when did that come into your world?
Um, After I left nursing and working in disabilities, my daughter decided to move overseas to the UK in 2015. I moved back to Adelaide to look after my aged parents. And of course, with everything that happened, because I've gone through a really nasty divorce as well, brought my daughter through all that. Then she went off to the UK. I came back to Adelaide and I was in a really dark place at the time. And I'd heard about this laughter yoga, but I didn't know much about it. And I was looking after Dad, and poor Dad, he ended up in a nursing home, and he passed away. And I was dealing with that and Mum and a few other things. And I heard about this laughter yoga through a friend who took me to a laughter session, and I thought it was a bit weird. I thought, oh gosh, what? I think she was trying to cheer me up. And I thought, okay, that was all right. And anyway, I went back and I enjoyed it. And then I heard that there was a training here in Adelaide, up in the Barossa Valley, by a lovely chap by the name of Nev. I think you know Nev,
I do.
who moved to Perth. So I went and did Nev's leader training and absolutely loved it. And I do remember one session where we were laying on the floor just doing this laughter, and something shifted and I burst into tears and I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. Oh my goodness. And I had this massive shift, massive shift. So I came out of that training feeling really, really good. And then he had another couple of sessions, just some reunions, and I heard of Merv Neal. And I'd seen Merv's video and I thought, I've got to meet this man. So, and I said to Nev, and he said, well, why don't you go over and meet Merv? And I thought, well, no, I'll leave it. This was 2019. I thought, no, I'll leave it till next year. He said, no, no, go now, go now. So anyway, I did. I contacted Merv and I went to Melbourne and I did the leader training again. I did the business training teacher. And I came back to Adelaide and started my first laughter club. So that was in 2019. And then I came back to your Laughter and Joy Festival in Queensland, which was just absolutely awesome. So I came back to Adelaide and set up my first laughter club, and it was going really, really well until 2020. So we all know what happened in 2020. So COVID came along, and I thought, well, this is interesting. So you came up with this initiative of going online. So I started an online session, which happens around Australia every day of the week. And so I started my Friday online laughter club at 9 a.m. Adelaide time, and I'm still doing it to this day. So some weeks it's quiet, other weeks it's busy, and it did go international. So that has been amazing. So
Wonderful work. Going back to Neville's training, you had this massive shift. What do you think caused that, and what was the result of that shift?
well, I don't know what caused it, but I know I'm pretty much curled. We were doing the laughter meditation lying down, and
Yep.
I just curled up in the fetal position. So I don't know. I just sobbed, and then I started laughing again, and I felt so much lighter after. So the shift was, I think it was a shift. The sadness shifted. The heavy sadness that I've been carrying around for so long shifted. And I thought, I want more of this. It's just no rhyme or reason. It was the laughter, I'm sure, and the connection with other people.
And that sadness was just a build-up of life's events over many years, do you believe?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. And I often hear these stories, and we have a saying, or sorry, I have a saying in laughter yoga that laughter shifts stuff. You can insert another word in there, but
I
sometimes
like the word stuff. Yeah.
sometimes it just layers and layers and layers, and we keep suppressing it. And I've heard so many times that it just all of a sudden this eruption comes up and it just shifts stuff. It shifts it up here, and we can become very emotional, or it shifts it down there. And people have this massive cleansing of all of the stuff that gets built up. So I wasn't actually aware of that story, I don't think, of
Oh,
you, where you had that meltdown and that collapse, but then it was this massive enlightenment and the shift.
mm.
You also had something that blew my mind when you came to do my leader training. Would you like to share that story?
Yeah, well, I'm still winking at people, but
She is a very friendly person, everybody. She's very, very friendly.
um, yes, well, for years after my surgery, I've had a dry eye due to the nerve damage with the surgery, and I've been using Lacrolube. And then, of course, it made everything blurry in that eye. It's an ointment. And I remember at one of Merv's session, I think we were sitting around a table. It was a 15-minute laughter, and something in my eye, something went just pop. I felt it pop. And I suddenly had tears running down my eyes, and my eyes just felt wet. And from that day, when was this 20 end of yeah, when I did your training 20 end of 2019, I haven't bought any Lacrolube since. I have not even used it. My eye, I don't get crocodile tears, but it feels constantly wet. So I don't use Lacrolube anymore. And people saying my facial features have changed too. They've got a lot softer. And I mean, I'm still winking, but I'm not, when I blink, I can close that eye a lot more, but certainly I'm not using the Lacrolube anymore. So the tears came back, or the lubricant, natural lubricant.
And why is that, nurse?
Why is that, nurse? I don't know. Neural pathways, maybe I cleared a tear duct, maybe I developed new nerve. I don't know. Scientifically, who knows? But spiritually or physically, I really don't know. It could have been something that just happened, cleared the tear duct, even though it wasn't blocked, because I've had tests and they told me my tear ducts weren't blocked. So I do not know how to answer. All I can say, it was a miracle. And it was definitely the laughter, because it happened during a session.
I like the idea that something popped. So once again,
It did. I felt it.
something shifted, and all of a sudden your eyes started watering. We're in the process of doing some research studies with an eye specialist.
Mm.
He found that all of a sudden when you laugh, it lubricates your eyes, and this seemed to be a really big breakthrough for them. And I'm going, no, I've had these stories for years about people's eyes starting to lubricate.
Actually, I saw
And
that article.
yeah,
Mm.
and because we don't truly know exactly what happened, we can philosophize about what may have happened. And my philosophy, because you had several operations to repair nerve damage in your face.
Mm. Oh, yes, I'd had the nerve graft taken from, they took it from my ankle. Yes, I've had nerve grafts and things, but it still didn't fix the eye, the tears. So
Yet the
unt-
laughter did. So
until I did the laughter.
so we can philosophize, and my philosophy, and the one that I've put to several health professionals, is we gave it a bit of a jolt, a bit like the old heart starters, the defib to get the heart going. Maybe the laughter just got those nerves activated again. They were all connected through the surgery, but they activated again.
Mm.
The impact on your face as well too was significant over time.
Oh, yes. I mean, I look at the video where you interviewed me and what I was looking like then to how I am now. People commented on how much I've changed in my features. Of course, I've lost weight. I'm so much fitter, so much happier, and I do certainly feel a lot lighter. I mean, we all have our down moments, but the laughter certainly picks me up every time.
Sure. So once again, what actually happened, I don't know. We can put out some theories and some ideas, and that's my idea, that we just kick-started those nerves and got them going again, got those
Mm.
electrical pathways going. And certainly, I experienced Bell's palsy at one stage through a very stressful time in my life. They say it's a virus that affects the nerve in the temple there, and your whole face just sags
Mm.
like a Salvador Dali painting. And when I saw your face, I thought you'd had a stroke or something
Mm.
like that because everything was just sagging. And to look at you now, you're just a totally different person. So yay to laughter. Yay to laughter yoga. I've been following with interest your story since then and what you do. You seem to have dived in at the deep end and just swimming at warp speed with the work that you're doing. Tell us about some of the work that you're doing or some of the work that you've done, and then we'll get
Mm.
on to some of the work that you're proposing to do.
Well, I've been doing some work with our local council, and I've been doing unpaid as a volunteer, and I've been getting some paid work through it through a wellness group that they run here in Adelaide. I've jumped on board as a community connector because, as we know, laughter connects people and it connects communities. So I've joined as a community connector, and we developed the Happy to Chat bench, which every week we meet in a local shopping centre and we connect people through chatting. So I'm volunteering with that. That's grown. We're in our second year now, and we've now been looking into social prescribing, and now I've become a champion in the social prescribing, which I think is going to be launched in May. We've got a couple more meetings. We've got six medical practitioners coming on board, and it's trialing for a 6-month period. So for me, the laughter's led me into all that
Just go
because I'm,
for those who don't know what
oh,
social prescription is, could you explain it to us, please?
yes, it's a lot of people that go to the doctors. Yes, they have long-term chronic problems or illnesses, but a lot of people struggle with depression and anxiety. So they've decided instead of writing scripts out for all these drugs, antidepressants, I mean, yes, we do need them. I'm not saying we don't need these things, but they're writing prescriptions out now to connect people with community groups. So social prescribing. And as a connector, I'm going to be liaising between the nurses or the doctor and the council and the clients to get people into programs. And laughter yoga is pretty much on the forefront, into walking groups, sewing groups, cooking groups, all these different groups within the community so people can connect and learn different things. So at the moment, it's going through a trial period. So it's prescribing social groups instead of medication.
We're working with another team out of Bolton University in the UK to introduce social prescription into the NHS, sorry, introduce laughter yoga as a social prescription into the
Mm.
NHS. So we're working hard on doing that, creating an app to be able to do that, etc. And here is someone right on our doorstep doing exactly that, coordinating all of the people, to actually bring laughter as one of those modalities. So
Oh, yes, and our council have been in the forefront, we're leading the way. There's three other councils on board at the moment, and everyone else is watching.
I think that emphasizes the importance of strategic partnerships as well, too. People who try to do things by themselves will go fast for a short period of time, but to go long term, you really need to develop those partnerships. A story,
Definitely.
your story is amazing, and the work that you do, I'm jealous in a very good way of what you're achieving. It's just amazing. Another story that you must have heard because of the work that you're doing from somebody else. What would one of them be?
What I'm doing with somebody else.
Yeah, somebody else's story that they've shared with you because of the
Oh,
work
I've
you've done.
I've had lots of stories. I after the training and during COVID, I was doing some work with the Mental Health Coalition of South Australia with their Festival of Now, and I remember they did a live stream, and I had never done a live stream before. And the chap that came along, the MC, it was a full day, and I did my laughter session. I was in my brother's lounge room. And the MC came out on Zoom just like this, and he had yoga pants on, a yoga mat. Now, this guy's a stand-up comedian, the beautiful Bogan, he calls himself.
All right.
So I had to explain to him how laughter sessions are run. Anyway, we went through it. It ended up on YouTube. It was amazing. And then he came out and he said, my goodness, I've never heard or seen this before. He thought it was amazing. I've actually laughed with this man twice. at a couple of other sessions. I've had some amazing stories. I've got a young lad with me at the moment who his carer's been bringing him to one of my sessions, and within the first week, he was virtually running the class. I think he has cerebral palsy. He's amazing. The third week, I met his mother. His mother came in and just she could not believe how much this boy had changed. Well, he's 21. And then 2 weeks ago, his Nona arrived, his Nana. So they were just amazing. I've only got 2 more sessions, and I'm now thinking where to from here. I don't want to let this boy fall through the net. I have another lady who's been non-verbal, and well, she could say, I know, that's all she would say. And now she's ho, ho, ha, ha, haring. She's talking gibberish. I've listened to her, very good, very good. Yet her carer cannot believe how far this woman has come since she's been coming to my group as well. So I've got many stories, but just people struggling with overwhelm. I've been working with a minister of the local church, and she came and did my leader training, and she goes and visits the women's prison and things like that. And she's had me preaching at the pulpit twice now. And she's asked me to come back and do a session probably towards the end of the month or early April, to come and do another 15-minute talk from the pulpit in the church.
So the obvious question on everyone's lips is why what are you doing? We said at the start of this year we wanted to create a laughter revolution for 2025. You're doing all this awesome work. How do you do it? Everybody, including me, wants to know what is it about you and what you're doing that is creating and helping this laughter revolution?
Because I know what it's done for me, and I just want to share it. It's so close to my heart, Merv. I just want to give it to the world, share it to the world. I know how it's changed my life. I've already seen how it's changed other people's lives. And it doesn't have to just be little things or big things. I want to create a laughter tsunami. So, no, for me, I know what it's done for me, and that's just why I want to share it, because I know it can help so many people.
Wonderful. I'm in awe of the work that you do. And when I first met you and saw you, and then all of a sudden we had the pop and all this sort of stuff, I'm going, wow, this is something really interesting for me to follow you. And I will get a text from this lady on my phone just saying, oh, hi, have you got a moment to talk? And I'll go, yeah, I do. I've got all day for you. And when we talk, she goes, you'll never guess what just happened to me. And I'm going, no, I couldn't possibly guess, because it's just something else amazing that you're doing. So from
Well,
everybody,
the thing is with the laughter, it's brought out the child in me.
you are a changed person. There is
And
no.
I'm having so much fun with it. And I think, well, you can too. It's just allowing people to give themselves permission
Wonderful.
to play.
Wonderful.
So I have a Facebook page, Laugh with Joyful Connections,
Now
a group.
we want to do the obvious plugs. We'll be able to put it downstairs as well too.
Oh,
But
yes.
you have a Facebook page.
Oh, it's a Facebook group.
Yep.
Laugh with Joyful Connections. I put my events up there. And like I said, I'm taking laughter to the regional areas. I was in Whyalla. I'm heading to the Riverland this weekend. So I'm starting to head out. So I'm putting all my events up there, plus quotes, plus what laughter's all about. My website is https sharonshappydemic.com.au.
Sharon's Happydemic.
sharonshappydemic.com.au.
Wonderful.
And honestly, Merv, this was born from a pandemic, because I
Oh.
figured we've just gone through a pandemic. Why not have a happy demic and spread it like a virus?
Oh no.
So honestly, that's how Sharon's true story, Sharon's Happydemic came about.
Amazing. I love that. last thing, a happy-demic was born from a pandemic and it was born from a virus. I just love all of that sort of stuff. Sharon, thank you for this. We're trying to keep it to half an hour. You and me could talk forever. We're on half an hour
I
now.
could talk all day.
I know you could. And certainly the stuff that you're talking about is just amazing. It just explodes my mind. But
Thank you.
when I met you, I've been doing this for over 20 years now, but when I met you back in 2019 and what you've done and what you're doing now, just explodes my mind. On behalf of the whole community, we thank you for your work because it's about planting seeds from the pulpit to social prescription to people with disability. Your laughter club as well, to your devotion to that is just amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you want to get in touch with this person, all the details are there. This is the sort of people that we have working for us. We're so blessed to have you, Sharon. Sharon, from an ex-military person to an ex-nursing point, we salute you and your work.
Never salute in the field.
No, don't do that. No, no. You and I know what that's all about. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Bye-bye.
Beautifully done. Bye-bye.
Bye.